There's a feeling that has followed you for a long time, maybe since forever. A subtle perception, almost indescribable, as if, on some level, you knew your existence didn't start here, not now. As if, behind the seemingly random events of your life, there was an invisible sequence, a script you already know, but don't consciously remember. And the truth is that this isn't just a feeling. It's not imagination. Quantum physics itself already shows us that time, as we perceive it, is an illusion of perception. Your consciousness wasn't born when you were born. It's an eternal quantum vibrational field that travels through different realities, dimensions, and experiences. And this is exactly why certain feelings, certain connections, certain fears make no sense under rational logic, because they didn't come from here. They are vibrational memories, energetic impressions of experiences your consciousness has already lived, in other bodies, in other realities, in other timelines. And what if I told you there are signs, clear signs, quantum evidence, marks left on your field that, if you learn how to recognize, will prove that your soul absolutely has been here before? And more, this isn't just a distant memory, but a calling, an invitation from existence itself for you to remember who you truly are. Stay with me until the end, because beyond revealing these signs, you will understand how this awakening is no accident, but the beginning of a new phase in your life. Pay close attention. What's coming next can, indeed, change everything. Sign 1, a feeling of unexplainable familiarity. Have you ever wondered why, in certain moments, life delivers scenes that feel strangely familiar, even though rationally you've never experienced them before? It's as if, for a few seconds, everything falls into perfect alignment. Like you already know exactly what's about to happen, what someone is about to say, or even the smell and texture of a place before you've even experienced it. Maybe this has happened to you, walking into a place for the first time and feeling with absolute certainty that you've been there before. Meeting someone and instantly sensing a connection that transcends any logic. A look, a gesture, a few words exchanged, carrying an energetic weight far greater than the mind can explain. And what's most intriguing is that this doesn't usually come with a clear memory. It's not like accessing a concrete memory with images, faces, or events. Number, it's more subtle, deeper. It's a memory not stored in the mind, but in vibration. It's imprinted on your energy field, woven into the quantum fabric that makes you, you. Modern physics, as it advances toward understanding the quantum field, touches on a truth that spiritual traditions have carried for millennia. Time isn't linear. It doesn't move along a straight line where past, present, and future are disconnected. Time is a field, a vibrational space where everything coexists, where every experience is stored and can be accessed by consciousness. When you feel this unexplainable familiarity, it's no coincidence. It's your consciousness breaking through the barriers of ordinary perception. It's your vibrational field resonating with records you've already lived, in another body, another time, maybe even another reality. And here lies one of existence's greatest secrets. Because when you allow yourself to truly feel this, something begins to awaken within you. A memory that isn't made of images or words, but of energy. A memory of being, of your true nature. Curiously, the more you resist trying to rationalize, the more this sensation seems to slip away, like sand falling through your fingers. Because it doesn't exist in logic, it exists in frequency. That's why some people spend their entire lives ignoring these signs, while others awaken and realize that these little cracks in the fabric of reality are actually portals. Portals revealing that you are not this body, not this story. You are a traveler of consciousness, a being that carries, imprinted within its field, the subtle marks of every life, every choice, every experience. So the question is, how many times in your life have you felt that you've been exactly where you are without ever having set foot there before? And if you think this is surprising, hold on, because the next sign will show you that certain talents and abilities you carry have never belonged to just this life. Sign 2, innate talents or abilities. There's something in you that perhaps has never been fully explained. An ease, a natural gift that, from an early age, appears almost effortlessly. While others seem to need years, maybe decades, of practice and effort, you simply know, you simply feel, as if that skill, that talent, wasn't learned in this life, but retrieved from somewhere much older, much deeper. It could be ease with music, dance, languages, numbers, spirituality, healing, or even the ability to access higher states of consciousness. You don't always understand how or where it comes from. You simply know it's part of you, as if it's coded deep within your being. And here comes one of the most uncomfortable and at the same time, most liberating questions that quantum physics, combined with spirituality, can offer. If consciousness isn't born with the body, if it is in fact a quantum, eternal, vibrational field, then what else does it carry besides your current identity? Could it be that, just as matter stores information, your consciousness also holds records, learnings, and codes from other experiences you've had in other realities? Quantum understanding reveals something extraordinary. Information is never lost. All information is energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It only transforms, reorganizes, shifts between dimensions, frequencies, and states. And that is exactly why certain abilities appear in your life without any rational explanation. Because they are not new. They are vibrational impressions of who you've been, what you've done, and what you've mastered in countless other journeys. It's as if your soul has crossed the borders between existences, carrying with it not only emotional memories, but also skills, gifts, and mastery acquired over many lifetimes. Do you see how this changes everything? What you were taught to call a gift, a natural talent, might not be something born of luck or favorable genetics, as many still believe. Perhaps it's actually an echo, a fragment of quantum memory, an energetic inheritance that transcends the limits of linear time. And the more you allow yourself to access this truth, the more those abilities begin to expand. Because the simple act of recognizing who you are, in essence, activates frequencies within your field that had been dormant. Frequencies that were never lost, only forgotten, limited by the constraints of three-dimensional consciousness. So take a deep look within. In what areas of your life do you notice this almost supernatural ease? What talents do you carry that don't seem to belong just to this lifetime, but to something far greater? And what if those gifts are actually just reminders of everything your soul has already been and still is? But this is only the beginning, because there's another type of memory that transcends time, and you're about to understand it now. Sign 3, attraction to specific eras, cultures, or wisdoms. There is a silent force that draws you towards certain places, eras, or cultures without you being able to rationally explain why. It's a fascination that wasn't born from books, movies, or external influences. It comes from within, like a kind of calling, a subtle remembrance that transcends time, bypasses the boundaries of logic, and seems to whisper, "You've been there before." Maybe you've never stepped foot in Egypt, yet you feel a visceral pull when you see the pyramids, the hieroglyphs, the temples. Maybe you've never deeply studied Celtic, Mayan, indigenous, or Vedic cultures, yet it feels like they are a part of you, as if on some level, that wisdom, that knowledge, or that way of life is familiar, almost as if it's been stored somewhere ancient within your own being. Quantum physics, when it explores the edges of consciousness, starts to reveal that this is not just a mental fantasy. Time is not a straight line. It's a field, a vibrational space where past, present, and future coexist simultaneously as frequencies, and your consciousness is not tied to a single timeline. It is a dynamic field, capable of accessing information, experiences, and records that go far beyond this current incarnation. When you feel this unexplainable attraction to certain cultures, wisdoms, or civilizations, what's actually happening is vibrational resonance. It's as if your energy field is aligning with frequencies you've already experienced in other journeys and other lifetimes. And this resonance activates memories that aren't stored in your rational mind, but in the quantum field of your own consciousness. Do you see how this changes the way you understand yourself? What many still label as interests, preferences, or personal tastes might actually be echoes, vibrational reflections of who you've been, of the knowledge you've gathered, of experiences that shape not just one lifetime, but the entire trajectory of your soul. What's even more fascinating is that when you allow yourself to dive into this calling, something begins to unlock inside you. Because those cultures, those traditions, that wisdom, aren't external. They're imprinted in your field. And the simple act of reconnecting with those codes activates parts of your consciousness that had been dormant, waiting for this very moment of remembrance. It's as if life itself is conspiring to remind you that you are not random, that your soul carries stories, memories, and wisdom that transcend anything logic can explain about who you are. And maybe, just maybe, this fascination you feel is actually an invitation, a silent calling to remember your true spiritual lineage. And so the inevitable question arises: why is it that certain places, symbols, or traditions make you feel completely at home? And if that gave you chills, get ready. Because when you understand what happens in the realm of dreams, everything starts to make even more sense. Sign 4, extremely vivid and realistic dreams. There are dreams that don't feel like dreams. Have you noticed? They're so vivid, so intense, so full of detail, that upon waking, it feels almost impossible to believe it wasn't real. Colors you've never seen in waking life, perfect tactile sensations, scents, sounds, places, and people. And beyond all of it, a deep sense that this wasn't just something your mind created, but an experience, a memory, a crossing. Maybe you've woken up in the middle of the night, heart pounding, holding on to fragments of a life you don't recognize, but at the same time, feels like it's somehow yours. Dreaming of cities you've never visited, speaking languages you've never learned, seeing yourself in other bodies in other times, living stories that don't belong to this life, yet carry an eerie familiarity. And no, this isn't coincidence. It's not imagination. Quantum physics itself starts to brush up against this territory as it realizes that consciousness isn't located in the brain, but in a quantum information field, a field where past, present, and future coexist, and where every experience, this lifetime or others, is stored. When you sleep, something extraordinary happens. The rational mind slows down. The barriers of time and space begin to dissolve. And in that state, your consciousness expands. It's no longer confined to linear, three-dimensional perception. It accesses what many call the Akashic records, the quantum information field, the universal matrix. Call it what you will. The fact remains, you start traveling through timelines that your waking mind cannot normally access. And it's exactly within this travel that those dreams occur. Dreams that feel more real than waking reality. Because in essence, they are real. They're real in the quantum field, real in the realm of consciousness. They are fragments of experiences your soul carries. Some belong to past lives. Some are future possibilities. Others are parallel realities, coexisting simultaneously beyond our linear understanding of time. Understanding this changes everything. What many dismiss as simple dream phenomena suddenly reveals itself to be a portal, a direct access point to the deepest, most ancient, and most vast parts of your existence. And what's even more curious is, The more you allow these dreams to pass through you, the more they start to intensify, because your consciousness recognizes you are ready, ready to remember, ready to reclaim who you truly are. So the inevitable question becomes, how many times have you woken up with the strange certainty that what you experienced in the dream wasn't just a dream? How many times has your soul, through those nighttime journeys, tried to remind you that you've never been just this body, never been just this story, but perhaps the most unsettling sign isn't the one that shows up in memories, but the one that manifests as fear. And that's exactly what we're going to explore now. Sign 5. Fears, traumas, or phobias without apparent cause. There is a type of fear that makes no logical sense. Have you felt it? Fears that arise without warning, without reason, without explanation. It's as if they've always been there, etched into something far deeper than your conscious mind can access. A discomfort that activates the moment you encounter certain situations, places, objects, or contexts. And no matter how hard you try to rationalize it, there's nothing in your current life that justifies that intense reaction. Maybe you've never been in a car accident, yet the idea of driving terrifies you. Maybe you've never drowned, yet just looking at the ocean triggers deep anxiety. Or maybe it's a fear of darkness, heights, confined spaces, crowds, fire. And no matter how much you try to explain it, there's absolutely no event in your current life to account for it. And this is where we enter one of the deepest aspects of the journey of consciousness, because quantum physics begins to show us that nothing, absolutely nothing, is ever lost. Information is energy, and energy does not disappear. It transforms, reorganizes, moves between different vibrational states. And if your consciousness wasn't born when your body was, then everything you've ever lived is still imprinted in your field. What we call irrational fears, traumas with no apparent cause, phobias that make no sense, are, in fact, vibrational imprints. Energetic signatures of experiences lived in other timelines, other bodies, other realities. Moments of pain, loss, suffering, death that were never fully integrated, healed, or released at the level of consciousness. And so, even crossing the boundary of death and rebirth, your consciousness carries those records. Because unlike what many believe, death does not erase the soul's memory. It merely transfers the information into another layer, another state of being. And when you incarnate again, what wasn't healed returns. Not as a clear memory, not as a conscious story, but as vibration. And vibration manifests in the body, in emotions, in sensations. Realizing this completely changes your relationship with fear, because you understand it isn't the enemy, it's a key, a code, a vibrational password that, when decoded, can lead you directly to the moment where your soul fragmented. And from there, the true process of healing begins. Because what is brought into the light of consciousness loses power. What is seen, felt, and embraced no longer controls you. So perhaps the question isn't, why do I feel this? But instead, what is my soul trying to show me through this fear? Because in the end, every discomfort, every phobia, every unexplainable trauma is an invitation, a silent calling from existence itself, asking you to remember, to heal, to integrate, and finally to set yourself free. If everything you've heard so far resonates with you, comment right now, "I am remembering." That way I'll know this message is reaching your frequency. And of course, leave your like right now. Not only does it show me that this content resonates with you, it also helps this message reach more people who are in the process of remembering, just like you. And if you think memories only show up in fears, wait until you realize what happens when two souls who have known each other for millennia meet again in this life. Sign 6, soul encounters, instant connections. There are encounters that logic simply cannot explain. You felt it. That moment when your eyes meet, and without a single word, something inside you stirs, an overwhelming sense of familiarity, as if that person carries a piece of your own story, even though in this lifetime you've never met. And suddenly everything makes sense, as if you've known each other for a very, very long time. It's hard to put into words because it's not a rational connection. It's not built through time or from shared experiences. It happens instantly, in a glance, in a touch, in a moment. A magnetic force that transcends all understanding. And even if you try to resist, ignore, disconnect, something deep inside already knows. This person didn't just arrive, they returned. And here's one of the most profound revelations that quantum physics, applied to consciousness, starts to reveal. Reality isn't built solely from what we see, touch, and label as matter. It is first and foremost a field, a vibrational field where everything is interconnected, where consciousnesses meet, intertwine, collapse, and form networks of information that transcend linear time. When you feel this instant connection, you're not experiencing something new. You're experiencing a reunion of souls that have traveled together through other realities, other lifetimes, other bodies. Relationships that may have been rooted in love, partnership, learning, or sometimes even conflict and pain. But somehow, they're woven together in the fabric of existence. This is why with certain people, you feel a sense of intimacy that seems to span centuries, a trust that simply is. No need to build it. And it also explains why, with others, you feel instant discomfort, even if there's no logical reason. Because not every reunion is soft. Some are karmic contracts, growth pacts, healing agreements that transcend time. Understanding this completely transforms how you view relationships, because you realize that nothing is random. No one crosses your path without purpose. Every encounter is, at its core, an opportunity, a chance to remember, to heal, to complete cycles left open in other chapters of your soul's journey. And no matter how hard your mind tries to explain, rationalize, or understand, this isn't the language of logic. It's the language of frequency. Soul-to-soul communication happens in the vibrational field, through feeling, through a memory that isn't made of words but of energy. So if you've ever experienced or are experiencing this kind of inexplicable connection, maybe it's time to ask yourself, who is this person in the larger story of my soul? Because deep down, your soul already knows. And this meeting isn't random. It's a reminder that life is so much more than it seems. And now comes one of the most powerful signs of all. Because if your soul carries any superpower, it shows up right here. Sign 7, extremely heightened intuition. There's a voice within you that isn't made of words. A knowing that appears before the mind, before reasoning, before any logical attempt to understand what's happening. It's that moment when you just know. You don't know how, you don't know why. It's a feeling that floods your body, sometimes as goosebumps, sometimes as sudden discomfort, sometimes as an inexplicable peace, guiding you exactly where you need to be. Maybe you've ignored this voice before, only to have life show you moments later that it was right. Or maybe you followed it, and then realized you avoided something, dodged a problem, or made the perfect decision without any rational explanation. This isn't coincidence, it isn't luck, and it's definitely not just instinct, it's memory, vibrational memory, information that doesn't come from your conscious mind, but from a much deeper place within your own being. When viewed through the quantum lens, it all starts to make sense. Consciousness is non-local. It isn't confined to your brain or this lifetime's experiences. It's a field, a quantum field that exists beyond space and time. And within this field, every experience your soul has ever lived is recorded. Every decision, every mistake, every success, every lesson. That's exactly why, in certain moments, you feel like you're just repeating a pattern, as if your soul has been through this before, in another place, in another time, in another body, and it knows exactly how this ends. It knows what to do. It knows what to avoid. It knows what to choose. And that wisdom manifests in the now, in the form of what we call intuition. What most people don't realize is that intuition isn't magic. It's the collapse of information from your own quantum consciousness. When you access a timeline where you've lived something similar, your vibration captures the exact information needed to guide you in the present. And this happens instantly, long before the rational mind has time to process it. The older the soul, the more experiences it carries, the sharper this ability becomes. It's like having an invisible map, constantly updating, guiding you, alerting you, leading you, if only you learn to listen. But here's the most important part. Intuition doesn't shout. It doesn't invade. It whispers. It speaks in the silence, in the space between one thought and the next. And that's why, in a world where everyone is distracted, busy, and overstimulated, few actually notice when it speaks. So maybe the real question isn't, am I intuitive? Because the truth is, we all are. The real question is, how much of your own wisdom are you still willing to remember? Because that voice guiding you isn't something outside of you. It is you. It's your own consciousness, leading you home. And if you've always felt different, like you never quite fit in, know that this was never a mistake, and that's exactly what we're about to talk about now. Sign 8, a lifelong spiritual quest. There's something inside you that has always made you feel different, a silent restlessness, a discomfort that, no matter how hard you tried to ignore it throughout life, always came back, a kind of emptiness that was never satisfied by the things of the material world. Not by status, not by money, not by success, not by distractions, because deep down, none of it was ever enough. Maybe you don't even remember when this quest began, because in truth, it never had a beginning. It has always been there, an almost indescribable sense that life must have a greater meaning, that there's something beyond what the eyes can see, beyond what you were taught, beyond the material narrative imposed on you since you arrived here. While many seem perfectly content living on autopilot, repeating routines, chasing the same program goals, you looked at it all with a strange sense of not belonging, as if you never quite fit into the game, as if your soul has always been trying to remind you there is something far greater happening behind the scenes of reality. And this is not a coincidence, not a flaw, not a romanticization of pain. It's clear evidence of an ancient consciousness, a soul that has traveled through many realities, many bodies, many worlds, and that, upon returning, carries the unconscious memory that matter alone will never be enough, because it's already been tasted, already been lived. The excess, the accumulation, the ego, the illusion, and now it seeks something more. It seeks truth. That spiritual hunger that has followed you all your life is not weakness, it is strength. It's undeniable proof that your consciousness is undergoing an advanced expansion process. And even when your mind tries to convince you that it's a waste of time, that you should be more practical, more logical, more adapted to the system, something deeper always wins. Because the spiritual quest isn't a choice, it's a calling, and callings cannot be ignored for long. Quantum physics is beginning to prove what spiritual masters have always known. You are not a body that possesses a consciousness. You are consciousness, temporarily using a body to have an experience. And when this truth starts to echo inside you, everything changes. Your priorities change. Your perspective shifts. Your entire relationship with reality transforms. You begin to realize that this quest was never about finding something out there. It has always been and always will be about remembering. Remembering who you are, where you came from, and what truly matters. And maybe that's exactly why you're here right now, hearing these words, because your soul already knows, and deep down, it always has. And perhaps The most magical sign of all is the one that appears when the universe itself starts responding to you. Sign 9. Out of this world's synchronicities. There are moments when reality itself feels like it's speaking directly to you. Signs that appear with such precision, so absurdly aligned, that they send shivers down your spine. Unlikely encounters, messages that show up the exact moment you were thinking about something. Repeating numbers like codes, 1111, 2222, 333, showing up on clocks, license plates, receipts, or through little coincidences that happen so frequently. They stop feeling like coincidences at all. You think of someone, and seconds later that person messages you. You're reflecting on a decision, and suddenly a song plays. A phrase appears, or a random person says exactly what you needed to hear. And in that instant, something inside of you knows. It's not chance. It never was. What quantum physics is beginning to reveal, and what spiritual traditions have stated for millennia, is that the external reality is not separate from your consciousness. The observer influences the observed. In fact, you are not simply living in reality, you are collapsing it. Your vibration, your inner state, your thoughts, your emotions, your frequency, are literally shaping what you perceive as the external world. Synchronicities are like glitches in the matrix of linear perception. Tiny cracks in the fabric of reality where, for just a few seconds, you get to glimpse how everything is perfectly connected. They are subtle, sometimes blatant, confirmations that yes, there is an intelligent, conscious field organizing events according to your vibration. And the more aligned your consciousness is, the more awake you become, the more these synchronicities intensify. They become constant, undeniable. It's as if life itself starts guiding you, directing you, responding to you, clearly, directly, and often magically. But what most people don't realize is that synchronicities aren't external signs. They are reflections, perfect reflections of your inner state. When you perceive the world as chaotic, disconnected, random, it responds with chaos, disconnection, and randomness. But when your vibration rises, when you begin remembering who you truly are, when your consciousness expands, the field responds. And it responds with such stunning precision, it can feel downright surreal. And maybe this is where the most important realization starts to land. Synchronicities are reminders. They're proof that you are not separate from anything. You are not a lone piece trying to survive in a cold, mechanical universe. You are the universe itself, perceiving itself, creating itself through you. So when these signs show up, and you know they do, don't ignore them. They are confirmations. They are answers. They are loving reminders from the quantum field of existence, whispering with absolute clarity. You are on the right path. You are remembering. And nothing, absolutely nothing, is ever an accident. We've arrived at the end of this journey, and if you stayed with me until now, there's no doubt left. You carry marks, fragments of vibrational memories that transcend time, space, and the illusion of matter. Every sign you recognize today isn't just curiosity, it's a calling, a reminder that your consciousness is far older, far vaster, and infinitely more powerful than you could ever imagine. And now, the choice is yours, to continue living on autopilot, or to fully claim who you really are. An eternal consciousness, capable of collapsing realities, reshaping your entire existence through the vibration you choose to sustain. If this truth resonated with you, write in the comments, "I choose to remember who I am." That way I'll know you stayed with me until the very end of this journey, because trust me, this is only the beginning.